G'day guys and girls out there in Guitar land. It's Doyley here. It's been a very long time. I'm back with a quick video to talk about using the VG-99 editor in macOS Ventura. I'm on 13.1 here. I have installed macOS Ventura onto a non-compatible device using the Open Core patcher with pretty good success. So I'm enjoying that currently. It's got a few new things, like you can use Sidecar now, which you couldn't previously use. And anyway, I don't know, I just like keeping up to date with the latest macOS. So even though I'm a few months behind here, I want to give you my findings on how to get this stuff working on this newer operating system. Now, this is the second attempt. Actually, it's the fourth attempt at this video. The third attempt just had no audio, so I'm starting again. But in any case, we will try to keep it succinct, and I'll give you some information that you can use. Now, first thing, I'm just going to keep that in the dock, and I'm going to quit it for now, and I am going to open this in the Finder. Now, I've made previous videos about using this application called Crossover, or at least one video. I think I first used it on Monterey, maybe. It might have been Big Sur, but in any case, I had it on Monterey. And I'm using version 21.2, and that's quite important. Crossover has been updated to 22 point something, and it breaks everything. So if you're going to go the Crossover route, absolutely do not go past 21.2. I've tested all the later versions and tried various fixes, and nothing works. So you can get the later version of Crossover to see the MIDI ports sometimes, but it's a very inconsistent performance and it tends to crash the actual app. So stick to 21.2 and you should be good to go. Now, I've actually already patched this, so I'm going to break it. Okay, so here's the deal. I've already installed Crossover, and I've upgraded it, and I've downgraded it, and I've wiped it, and I've restarted it, and I've done a whole bunch of moves. But the very first time you install Crossover, if this is your first time, and even if you have installed it before, I would probably recommend just completely wiping your settings and reinstalling the editor. So what's going to happen when you try and launch it? You're going to get this initialization failure. It seems like most people get this error, and so what I immediately did was just took this content from the error message and searched it, and I got maybe second hit was this Reddit thread with some information on Crossover on Mac Ventura, and it seems to be a pretty simple fix. You just need to go into the resource folder and find this file here, which I assume is a Python file, and change some of the text in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to show package content of this application in the application folder, and we're going to go over to resources, and we're going to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and we're going to find this libcx setup base.py file, and we're going to open it. It opens, in my case, automatically with a text editor, and we're going to just find the 6th line of the file, and we're going to replace the text there with this. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there it is. We're going to pop that in, and we're just going to save it. Now you can do a backup if you want, but not necessary. I haven't had any trouble with not backing it up. Now when you launch Crossover, it should work. Okay. Now, as I was saying, I've already been through this whole setup process several times, and I've already got a bottle installed here. But what you're going to want to do is, if you haven't, I highly recommend restarting, installing a new version. So just get the editor, the Windows version of the editor from the Roland website, from the VG-99 support page, and reinstall it. And I usually delete the online help files and just have it like this. Once you install that, it's going to give you these two icons here, the editor and the librarian. And if you leave the other stuff, the online help files, they will also appear. So you can launch it from here. I've actually pinned the editor to the, I don't really use the librarian much, if ever. I pin the VG-99 editor icon to the bar here. And so now when I launch it, it will bring up the editor. Okay, and you can see it's automatically grabbing data here. But I should probably just take a step back and say that you need to connect your VG-99 to the device somehow. So in my case, I've connected it with a UM1 from the 5-pin DIN MIDI ports on the back of the VG-99 to a regular USB port on the computer. And that device is the UM1. And so when I go into my VG-99 setup, here I'm selecting the UM1 as the device. Now I should point out, you've got these VG-99 ports here, which are actually established by the audio driver, the audio MIDI driver, but you do not want to use them. Do not use them. They don't work. They simply don't work. So stay away from them. The reason being, I believe, is that they're 32-bit, and I'm actually surprised that they don't work at all. Like, I'll just try it one time just as a point of demonstration. Yeah, they just don't work. So nothing works. Oh, actually, interesting. That command is working. I can turn the channels on and off, but I can't change a patch. Actually, interestingly, it did change one patch from the first click, but then it stopped. So anyway, the point is, it's a completely unreliable path. So don't follow that. Stick with your USB to 5-pin MIDI adapter, and everything will just work in a flash. So there it is. That's it. You can find this this page here on Reddit. Just search the error message that you get when you try and launch Crossover. You can also install the VG-99. I was just here recently, wasn't I? Where was it? Updates and drivers. You can get the macOS 10.13, 10.14 audio driver, advanced audio driver from the Roland website when it eventually loads up. I've already downloaded it here. But it's a straightforward installation process. You can see here it's compatible with Mojave and no higher. It doesn't work with Catalina. It doesn't work with Big Sur. It doesn't. I mean, it does work with them. The audio part works with them, but the MIDI part doesn't. So it's kind of like 50% broken. But it's useful if you want to get USB audio from the device. So download that and you can install it as usual. And then when you look in your system setting, down the bottom here, you're going to see this VG-99, what would you call it, driver settings page. And I've got it set to a hair, like one step above the minimum on the audio buffer size, and I've put the recording margin at 0. The default is up there. I think that's too much. So I'm just going to leave that as is now. And you've got your 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz input and output, 2 in, 2 out. You can see there. And yeah, it's it also creates this MIDI port here. That there were the ones that I'm saying don't use. So saying they don't work. There's some limitation to what you can do with them. Like, I think you can send control change messages from like a DAW or something to the device, and it will respond. But like I demonstrated before here, when I tried to do a patch change, it didn't work properly when I used these MIDI ports. So I'd just steer clear of them if I were take my advice. So just as a proof of concept. I'll fire up Ableton Live here, and I've already set this up. So I've got a huge buffer on this. Maybe I'll take it down to 512. This is not, I would never ever use the device like this recording unless I was direct monitoring, which I can do. Like my VG-99 has a output from the main analog outputs into a small mixer before it goes to my monitors. But because I'm doing this at night and I don't really want to make a whole lot of noise, I'm not going to use that. And what I am going to do is I'm just going to quickly create a monitor for myself. Where is it there? I'm just going to pop that to my built-in output. I'm just going to grab my guitar and just demonstrate very briefly that it actually is producing audio. And it's entirely possible to just check my microphone hasn't died. Good. It's entirely possible to use the editor Okay, I'm not playing here. I'm just trying to show you that it works. There's some latency involved in using the loopback software as a monitoring device. It's not ideal to do things this way. And far preferable to use speakers off the main device. However, that's not practical for me at this particular moment in time. So anyway, there it is. You can also, of course, get your UM1 in here. So if you want to put, do some synthesis, that's entirely possible. Let's just grab a UHI device, get repro. Now, I'm not going to be able to hear this because of the way my monitoring is set up, but I know from experience that's going to be loud. Yeah, hopefully that sounds okay. I can't actually hear what I'm playing right now. So, yeah, anyway, there it is. Proof of concept that the VG-99 is still completely functionable and viable to use on the latest macOS operating system. And as I was saying before, worth mentioning that using this OpenCore patcher, you can easily search, there's heaps of videos about that on YouTube. You can get some of your old devices to run this also, which is pretty cool, I think. All right, I hope anybody who's watching this found this informative, useful, potentially inspiring. And if you've got any questions, pop them down in the comment section, and I'll do my best to give you helpful responses. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year for those in East Asia. And catch you on the backlash.